Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode what's really going on behind the glossy corporate news reports. Today we're diving into McKinnon's latest filing, and let's just say it involves a plan ending with a whimper, not a bang. Stick around to find out what that means for the folks who had money in it. Before we dive in, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, so join us there for more discussions. Now let's get into it. Support more discussions now, let's get into it. McKinnon, a company you might know for its lifting and moving products, has just filed a report that mainly talks about a significant change to one of its employee benefit plans. The big news here is the termination of their employee stock ownership plan, or ESOP. Think of an ESOP as a way for employees to own a piece of the company they work for, often through stock in a special trust. This particular ESOP has been around for a while, but it's now being shut down. It's interesting because the plan was already closed to new members back in 2012, and the last time employees actually got new stock allocations from it was in 2015. So what exactly was in this ESOP right before it closed? As of early August, it held a little over 131,000 shares of McKinnon's stock. This might sound like a lot, but it's actually a pretty small slice of the company's total shares, less than 0.5%. They also had about $88,000 in cash sitting in the plan. This means the company wasn't putting a huge amount of its total value into this specific employee benefit. Now for the part that might catch your eye. How much of this was held by the top executives? The filing breaks down the shares and cash allocated to two of their key named executive officers. Gregory P. Rostovich, the Executive Vice President of Finance and Chief Financial Officer, had 242 shares and received 672 sol cents in cash. Alan S. Corman, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, Corporate Development and Secretary, had 300 cash in cash. Alan S. Corman, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, Corporate Development and Secretary, had 302 shares and received $828.05 in cash. Alan S. Corman, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, Corporate Development and Secretary, had 302 shares and received $828.19 in cash. It's important to note that the cash amounts listed are from March 31, 2025, which was the last time they valued the cash portion of the plan. So while these executives did have some stake through this ESO, the amounts specifically from this plan seem quite modest when compared to their overall compensation or the total value of the company. This isn't a massive payout for them from this particular plan, suggesting it was more of a supplementary benefit rather than a primary wealth building tool for the top brass. What happens next for the employees who are part of this ESOP? They'll get their vested account balances, meaning the parts they've fully earned. The company is giving participants a choice. They can take the money and stock directly, or they can roll it over into roll-it-over accounts like their 401(k) plan or an IRA. The company expects these distributions to happen in October of this year, so employees will just have to wait a few more months to get their final payouts. So why terminate the plan? Typically, companies do this for a few reasons. It could be to simplify their administrative burden, believing the cost and effort to manage this old closed plan outweigh the benefits. It might also be part of a broader review of their employee benefit strategy, perhaps to consolidate or modernize offerings. Since this plan wasn't taking in new members and had made its final stock allocations years ago, it's likely becoming more of a legacy item that the company wants to clean up. The filing itself is pretty straightforward, mostly dealing with the mechanics of ending this ESOP. It doesn't contain any major financial performance updates or the kind of deep financial tables you'd see in a quarterly or annual report that show revenue, profit, or balance sheet changes. This is a specific update on a particular employee benefit structure. The report is signed off with the company's name and the signature of their Executive Vice President of Finance and Chief Financial Officer, Gregory P. Rostovich, confirming that the information is accurate to the best of his knowledge, as required by law. Now, looking at this filing from a broader perspective, it's a small but potentially telling piece of information about McKinnon's approach to employee benefits and corporate structure. Terminating an old SOP, especially one closed to new participants years ago, often signals a move towards streamlining operations. It can mean a company wants to reduce complexity and overhead. For McKinnon, which is in the industrial equipment sector, efficiency and cost management are always important. What's interesting is that the ESOP held such a small percentage of the company's stock. This suggests that employee stock ownership, at least through this specific vehicle, was not a major driver of employee engagement or a significant source of capital for the company in recent years. It's more of a housekeeping item than a strategic shift in how the company is funded or how employees are compensated overall. We don't have the full financial picture from this specific report, but this action doesn't scream rapid expansion or a major strategic pivot. Instead, it's more of a steady, deliberate move to clean up the books. Companies that are growing rapidly or undergoing significant transformation might have more urgent or impactful changes to report. This feels more like a mature corporate management taking care of an old asset. The real question for investors and employees alike is what comes next? Will this freed up administrative capacity lead to better investments elsewhere? Or is it simply a cost-saving measure? Without a broader financial report, it's hard to say definitively. However, in business, simplifying and cutting down on old plans often frees up resources and attention to focus on current and future initiatives. For Columbus McKinnon, this might mean a bit more focus on their core business of providing material handling solutions. They'll want to ensure their main product lines are strong and that their innovation continues. The success of the company will ultimately depend on their ability to compete in the market for industrial equipment, which can be cyclical and competitive. My take on this filing is that it's a sign of a company managing its legacy programs effectively. It's not a red flag, but it's also not a sign of explosive growth or a dramatic change in strategy. It's more about operational tidiness. The company is essentially closing a chapter on an old employee benefit program. So to recap, Columbus McKinnon is winding down its employee stock ownership plan. Employees in the plan will receive their vested benefits by October, with options to roll them over. This is a quiet administrative move, not a dramatic event for the company's overall financial health or strategy, given the plan's small size and status is closed to new participants for over a decade. Alright, that's our breakdown of Columbus McKinnon's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.